Alright, it's 4:30 a.m. and Court and I are walking through Cusco and we're looking for a colectivo to bring us to Molipata. Basically today is day one of starting the trek to Machu Picchu. We're doing it completely self-guided, so it's been a little chaotic trying to figure everything out and fix everything that we did wrong when we initially planned this whole trek and this whole process. So yeah, it'll be an adventure.
Without a guide, we needed to depend on finding local transportation to get us deeper into the mountains. We had walked to the street corner from our hostel in hopes of finding someone to take us closer to our starting point.
Gracias.
This first day began in Cusco, where two men led us to a minivan with only 2 seats left, where we loaded our gear and hopped in. We were the only non-locals packed into this small vehicle for a 2-hour journey into Molipata, where we could then purchase our permit for the Salkantay trek. Once entering Molipata, there were a few locals offering their personal transport even farther into the mountains, which was exactly what we needed. We were approached by a kind man who spoke no English, who guided us to the permit station, where we figured out how to purchase our 2 tickets. And with our own broken Spanish, we asked him to take us to the tiny village of Salkantay.
So we now caught a local taxi. Court's back there. Where is she? Caught a local guy's bringing us to the next town where we'll actually start the trek. It's not too bad if you've done it before, but definitely I feel like if people weren't used to traveling, this would be really sketchy.
Yeah. Más arriba hace mucho frío, ¿eh? Mucho frío.
Mucho frío.
Sí.
Well, chaqueta.
De pluma de pato.
Sí, yeah, pluma de pato, sí.
¿En español?
Sí.
En español es alpaca.
¿Es alpaca?
Sí.
Oh. We have officially started our trek. I had assumed that, what was the place that we just stopped at? Salkantay? I don't know. Salkantay. Salkantay. I had assumed that it was kind of a little town, but it was just one little snack stand on the road and a few cats. And I think most people don't stop there to hike. A lot of people will continue on to Sorayampa. But it feels really good to be hiking and out of the vehicles. We're already feeling the elevation, so it's probably good for our bodies too.
We began at about 12,000 feet of elevation. And just a few days prior to this, I met a few friends in the jungle who told me about their experience with the Salkantay trek. Unfortunately, it turned out that both of them needed to be evacuated from the mountains due to altitude-related issues. And luckily they had a guide for help, but neither of them completed the trek. Both Court and I are experienced with these types of adventures and conditions, so starting immediately we focused on a few things.
No son dos. ¿No son en la habitación de allá de 2 camas? ¿Línea?
¿Sí?
Ya, les voy a mostrar. Sorry.
The first being water. We made sure to drink constantly, reducing any risk of dehydration and aiding in the oxygenation of our blood. Next, electrolytes, to make sure that we were replenishing what we were losing during these humid and long hiking days. And lastly, sleep. Our goal was to reach our next destination with plenty of time to settle in and go to bed as early as possible.
Our little hostel is very cute. It's great. I love it. And it's right at the base of a very popular trek here to Lake Umente. And it's raining outside. Court just put on her rain pants.
Linnea did not bring her rain pants. And so we're gonna go trek in the rain for the afternoon to check out this lake. And both of us are feeling a little bit of the altitude, so we're gonna make sure we get a lot of sleep tonight and a lot of water. You all set? Ooh, those are fancy!
Yeah, dude. Feels so good.
This is one of the most beautiful places I have ever been, and Courtney and I have been able to explore for a while. Like, this place will bring you to the edge of tears. It's incredible. Also, I feel a lot of gratitude that I'm not in a group. There was a period of time where we had this all to ourselves because the groups come up here in kind of masses, but many of them need to get back to town. And so there's like lapses in the day when there aren't many people. The weather's perfect. It's just like beyond beautiful. It's 5:30 a.m. Actually might be a little earlier. 5:20 a.m. Breakfast is at 5:30.
Son las 5:30.
So, yep. And today is our hardest day. I believe it's a 13-mile day, which is a decent day of hiking. But we are completing the pass, which means that we'll be up over 15,000 feet. So we need to start hiking around 6 a.m. Would you like one of these, Court?
Sure. Thanks.
You're welcome. A simple breakfast is included in this little hostel. And I'm taking these few minutes before breakfast to consume some extra nutrients. So I want to give a huge thank you to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. From the moment that we started this trek, there have been, I don't think any fruits or vegetables that we've eaten. So I definitely need all of these extra vitamins and minerals and nutrients that are in these convenient little travel packs. Oh my god, yum. AG1 builds a foundation for whole body health by delivering the nutrients that you need to support your gut and your immune system, which is incredibly important when traveling and also in these cold, like, winter months. There are a lot of things while traveling or in life that you seemingly can't control, but it does feel really good to have these travel packs with me just in my bag, because one of the things I can control are all of the extra nutrients that I can provide for my body. due to AG1.
I love that AG1 helps sustain my energy throughout the day, especially on adventures like this. And this is one of those things that I constantly recommend to my friends and family, which is why I brought extra for Courtney on this trip.
It's actually really heavy.
And overall, drinking AG1 each morning just gives me that peace of mind that I'm getting comprehensive nutrition to support this busy and adventurous lifestyle.
We need to head to breakfast, so make sure to head to the link in my description below and get a free 1-year supply of AG vitamin D3, K2, and 5 individual travel packs for free with your first purchase of AG1. I got obnoxious yellow.
I'm so surprised how little some people have.
I know.
Our climb on day 2 started immediately. We were to ascend over 2,000 feet of elevation over a 4-mile distance to the Salkantay Pass, bringing us to an altitude of over 15,000 feet, before descending another 9 miles for the day.
We're at probably, I don't know, I think we're pretty close to 15,000 feet. It's getting cold, so we're adding a layer. So good.
I'm so happy.
I know! This is by far the most beautiful trek I have ever been on in my life. It is unreal. Court and I are like euphoric right now and tired. It's wonderful. As far as elevation goes or altitude goes, I feel it like in my body. I have like a little bit of like tension, not even tension, just like tingliness in my nose and my face. And of course I'm breathing a lot, and we're going at a slow pace to focus on breathing, but I don't feel any like sickness. I don't feel any altitude sickness. I don't have a headache. I'm not nauseous. I feel great. Court has her like a heart rate monitor in her watch. Heart rate is like at like 120, so our bodies are doing really good at this elevation and we feel really good. Well, we are starting our final ascent. So we're on the last half mile or so. Basically just go straight up. It's chilly up here. It's cold, it's beautiful, it's wet. And we feel so alive. And it's fantastic. I need both hands, okay.
We completed the pass one step at a time, with the land covered in heavy clouds that eerily hid Mount Salkantay, which otherwise would have loomed over us, a glacier-capped summit that has been worshipped for thousands of years.
We've made it to the top, and now we have 9 more miles. Hopefully no more steep inclines. It is really beautiful, but this like epic mountain is completely covered by clouds. Maybe it'll clear up.
We descended mile after mile over rocky landscapes and boulder fields and beautiful river banks that were cleverly built to funnel water into the rugged villages, until slowly the clouds gave way to an entirely different ecosystem, the rainforest.
Oh, sweet thing.
Come here.
What's in your mouth? Oh, it's got a loose tooth. Hi.
I love you.
As we trekked further, dropping deeper into the rainforest, we noted a few things. First, that there were nearly no little outposts with snacks on day 2, which made us incredibly grateful for the extra food that we did bring for quick refueling. We also realized that a large portion of the trail did have easy access to water. And while most people, it seemed, relied on purchasing water bottles along the way, we realized that it would have been more efficient to carry our water filter instead. Since this was the rainy season, a large portion of the trail was very wet, including multiple water crossings where the mountain streams flowed over the trail. And since both of us have spent years hiking in barefoot sandals, we felt right at home.
I think we're the only ones here for dinner. It's 15 soles each. It's freaking delicious. We just had dinner, and the guy who we found out is the only one in this little village that speaks English is our hostel host. And he was fantastic. He was so kind and so helpful, and he sat down, he went and got a jacket because it was cold, and sat down for dinner and hung out with us, and we talked all night. He basically told us what we should do, which will take off one full day of our trip.
The rain has made some of the trails unsafe to hike on, and so
Because of landslides.
Yeah, because of the landslides. And so that was one piece of information he gave us, and then he asked where we were going tomorrow after that day's hike, and we told him, and he said not to do that because there was construction on a lot of the road that we'd be hiking on, because it was part trail and road, and he said it would be miserable. And so instead of breaking our hiking time up into 3 more days, we're now just doing 2 more days. Tomorrow is planned as it was, and then the next day is combining 2 hikes.
What language does he speak?
Quechua,
Quechua.
which is the Incas' language. Their
Native language.
Their native language. And not very many people can speak it, but his mom only speaks Quechua. And so he can speak Spanish, Quechua, and English. And he, by far, has been...
The best English speaker.
Yeah, he communicates so well. And during dinner, he was helping us with our Spanish.
The beauty of traveling and doing this trek during the rainy season is that the crowds of people were nowhere to be found. In many cases, Courtney and I were the only people at the hostels, which either allowed us to really connect with the hosts or have some beautiful down quiet time to take in all of the nature around us.
Kurt and I are sitting and eating a snack. It is what time?
10:54.
It's 10:54, and we are basically just now starting our 6 hours of hiking because we took the wrong road and hiked probably 3.5 miles into a different valley and gained a lot of elevation. And then we realized that we were going in the wrong direction, so we had to turn around and walk back 3.5 miles. So we've added 6 miles in the last 3 hours. And we just now got to like the start of what today's hike should have been. And we have 9 miles left. We think. 6 hours.
Just a little fruit snack refueling. Look at us. It has a lot of dirt on it. Lene and I have been having a little tough mornings, so we just need a little bit of a comic relief. How's that?
Really good.
Yeah.
It's extra good with the little hands.
Yeah, they really bring something else to the experience.
You still going?
Yeah.
The water levels were high and landslides were a real concern since it was approaching peak rainy season in Peru. So while the trail was in sight, we stuck to the road for majority of day 3, rather than risking the dangers of the single track just across the river.
These are the little we call them snack shacks. And this was the first one that actually has fruit, so we're stopping to eat lunch.
Yeah, I think it might just be different.
Oh shit. We've been taking these at breakfast, and they make a perfect little sandwich for our tuna.
So, this was in my top loader sitting next to my Ziploc bag of baby wipes, and the bread tastes like baby wipes.
Ew. So we finally got to the little city where we should have our turn for the trail that goes like actually into the rainforest and off this road. And then I think we're close. And we've made really good time. I think it's 3 maybe right now?
2:45.
2:45. And we have maybe 2 miles left?
Oh, sweet.
Oh my god.
So cute.
Look at how good she is.
I know.
You're such a good puppy. Oh. You're such a good puppy. Oh. Hi. Hi. Hi, I love you. I want to take you home.
Hey, where'd we come from? Where we come
Oh, Chile?
Chulay.
Yeah, sí.
Chica, caminata, chica. Vamos, chicas. Allá, ahorita voy a traer un juguito de naranja o papaya. Baño privado. Ducha está a este lado. Ducha caliente. Tiene su baño privado. Ajá. Solo ducha está a este lado. ¿Desean de papaya?
Sí.
Passion fruit papaya.
Sí.
Ok.
Yeah.
Sí.
Tome asiento, chicas.
Gracias.
Más ratito les va a dar el wifi, ¿ya? Chicas, disfruten.
Oh, gracias.
Este jugo.
Oh, bien. Everything went away. Wow. I'm sorry you're not feeling good. Sucks. So Courtney is allergic to mold, and this hostel is very, very moldy. She woke up this morning with like the flu, basically flu-like symptoms. She's been fevery, upset stomach, not much of an appetite, just really uncomfortable. And we were gonna do today like a really long day all the way to Aguas Calientes. But luckily we were able to kind of figure out what to do. We know that we can't stay here, so we thought maybe we just give you time to recover and we have a rest day. But once like searching and figuring out that this is probably due to mold, that doesn't make sense to stay here, of course, because her symptoms would probably just get worse. So luckily we were able to contact a lodge, a little hostel or a lodge or whatever in La Pata, which is at the very like peak of today's hike. So we're gaining like a few thousand feet of elevation, basically going up and over this mountain, I think, but La Pata is at the very top. We were able to contact them. Courtney messaged them on WhatsApp, and they have a room open. So she's gonna push through and climb this elevation, basically. I think it should take us probably like 3 to 5 hours, depending on, you know, how fast we can go, or we have all day so we don't have to go fast. Hopefully her body can like, you know, work through the toxins from the mold. So we're back to a 5-day trek, but a different route than we originally planned. And yeah, I think it'll work out well as long as the mold issues don't continue.
Are your clothes wet?
Yeah, they're really wet and sweaty and smelly. 8:04. We'll probably get on the trail by 8:30. And then we climb.
Luckily, Courtney's flu symptoms let up about a half hour into the trek, although we still thought it would be a good idea to stop at the top of the mountain and make sure that her body was fully recovered for the following day. So, steadily we climbed closer and closer to La Pata, weaving through this dense rainforest, higher and higher and higher, until the land opened up to our very first view of ruins.
So we hiked about, 3 hours basically straight up, and we got to our very first ruins. They're really cool.
Once we crested this mountain, we had a unique and limited view of Machu Picchu. We were able to see a few of the structures from this vantage point, and of course, an even more expansive view of all of the surrounding mountains, which made me so grateful at how everything led to a night in La Pata, to really take in the beauty from this perspective.
La roja. Hay que abrir unos 5 minutos. Okay. After the opening, you wait.
Sí.
5 minutes.
Gracias. Gracias.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
We settled in right as a storm swept through. With a blanket, I sat under our overhang and listened to the rain while I watched as the clouds danced over the thermals in the mountains. And this was the most profound moment that I had on the trip. These mountains had such an incredible ancient quality and a palpable and humbling power. I was looking at what used to be a thriving civilization, with its own ideas and struggles and culture, one that many of us probably wouldn't even begin to understand, and that is mostly lost now, except for what remains on the jagged peaks in front of me. Even though we had a shorter previous day and a few extra hours to recover, we woke up stiff and sore and not looking forward to the steep decline towards Hydroelectrica.
Woo! I don't like that.
And we knew that the last few miles of the day were on train tracks. But once we found those tracks, we didn't quite realize how long we would be walking them, making for a long, boring, more mentally challenging hiking day. And when Aguas Calientes finally came into view, we were so relieved that the trek was over.
We're really sore, but we made it to Aguas Calientes, and we're hobbling up. We're gonna try to find a cafe because we have yet to have our first cup of coffee, and that's the most important thing right now.
And so we ate delicious food, we took very long hot showers, and we rested up for one last early morning. After a confusing and stressful run to the ticketing center at 5:30 a.m., we boarded our bus just in time to take us to Machu Picchu within the time frame that we were allotted. While we had wanted to finish the trek up the mountain to Machu Picchu, we decided to trade that for an earlier entry, which also meant that we arrived with the city in full cloud cover. In a last attempt to get the most out of our trip, we hired a guide who encouraged us to simply wait, answering all of our questions while we did so, until the sun just barely began to shine through the mist. So is that in a position then where the sun would hit that first?
If you look at this, it's facing to the sunrise, finding the wild animals. Are we under the wild animals? The reflection. That's why this house, no roof.
Machu Picchu was beyond captivating, and while we learned as much as we possibly could in the few hours of the experience, there is so much that we will never know, and mysteries that will never be explained, locking in the beauty and depth of what had been high up in the Peruvian Andes forever.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun.